In our last video, we showed how we used the Mucar Diagnostic tool to troubleshoot that we had a number 2 cylinder misfire. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and take the information that we gained from the scan tool and now try to actually fix the vehicle. Ultimately, in the end of this video, once it's repaired, we'll also show the diagnostic tool has cleared the code and the differences from the pre-fix to the post-fix, showing that the tool itself reflects these changes. Before we get into it, I want to be transparent. We were not paid for this content. This is of our own opinion and our own experiences. One way that you can support the channel is by smashing that subscribe button. It's free. That really helps us out. And if you really want to buy us a coffee because we saved you a ton of money or got you coupons or saved you thousands of being able to get the right answers, join the channel as a way to buy us a coffee or say thanks. All right, let's get into it. In case you missed the other videos, why don't we just re-baseline what's going on with this car? The customer had a check engine light come on, the car lost significant power, and then forced them off the highway to pull on a service road and kind of nurse the car over to the side of the road. Turn the car off, turn it back on. They could drive it, felt that it was better than it was on the highway, but definitely concerned that there was lost power. And then at times the check engine light would go off, the power would come back, and the car would seem to drive normal. So it's a very intermittent problem. When I first hooked up my scanner that I just keep in my vehicle all the time, it showed no codes. Now, the car was drove here, so it was at temperature, but we just weren't getting anything. That's when we hooked up the Mucar Diagnostic tool, the 892 BT, and that's when we saw a very detailed report. And we're going to use that information to fix this car. As with any smart technician out there, we're going to use every tool that we have at our disposal. So what we have here is we used the 892 BT and came up with what the code was stored in reading, and that we had that P0302, which is a number 2 cylinder misfire. So then we also had a test where we took our GTC 505, which is a secondary ignition testing tool, and we saw some correlation between these two. As you can see from these two screenshots here, the number 2 cylinder had a significant higher secondary voltage in kilovolts than the other 3 cylinders. And what you're looking for is some commonality here. We had 3 cylinders reading one and one reading way out of the other. And that cylinder also is what the scan tool told us that a misfire was happening on. This started to lead us in a direction. The car has 180,000 miles on it, so something breaking down wouldn't be a surprise. But one of the things we challenged the newer driver is to ask them when they filled up last, and they had just filled up the day before. Being as his girlfriend has a hybrid vehicle, we were concerned that possibly he put E85 in there. So he went back to the pump and took a look at where he got gas, and fortunately it wasn't. But these new labels can be confusing to the newer driver that really doesn't understand what these ethanol fuels and blends are. 15% fuel is not E85. I can't stress enough, I would try to put premium fuel in whenever you can. These labels right here, the way they're doing these now, and you're not going to see us every gas station, they can be confusing. So I'm going to do 2 tests before we go further into this as well. And I'm going to do a cold test where I just fire the engine up, and then I'm going to go ahead and unplug each coil pack and see if the misfire gets worse or it doesn't change at all. If it doesn't change at all on a cylinder, that means that cylinder is the dead one. But what I suspect is going to happen is this is taking the engine to get hot, and then the problem gets significantly worse. So the electrical resistance in the harnesses, the coils, the fuel injector, something, I think it needs to get hot to really show the problem. But let's just try it. We'll go ahead and try it cold. Okay, as you saw, there was no difference in the engine at cold for pulling that off. Every cylinder died down, which didn't show any dead cylinders. So let's let it get warmed up and do the test again. All right, we're really starting to hear that miss. Vehicle's been running about 8, might be coming up on 9 minutes now. Let's go ahead and try here in about a minute. All right, we're at the 10-minute mark. Let's try again. Okay, no difference in any of those. So we can isolate out most likely the ignition side of things, because it make a big, you're taking spark away, so you have the cylinder significantly drop. So let's continue with our problem. Once again, our code is showing that we have the number 2 misfire happening significantly. So we're gonna focus on I'm gonna do spark plugs first. Just try that, eliminate that. And then I'm going to, because it needs it, more importantly, and then I'll work next into the fuel injector. So it's a lot of work to take off that plenum and get to that, because on this particular model, the fuel injectors are underneath instead of on top. Like, I think just 2 years older, they would have been changed in a matter of minutes. This is going to take a bit of time. All right, let's keep going. So one of the things I like to do is take a marker and start marking what each coil is. I'll do the same thing with the spark plugs, so I can be extremely clear when I pulled out to take a look at them of what cylinder they came out of. Have an actual 14mm spark plug socket, so use a little magnet. And these are most likely original spark plugs. Look at that. It's definitely gonna be nice to just try this, see what happens, but let me mark this. Doesn't look like a horrible burn. Doesn't look horribly lean, but definitely some carbon buildup. And these are just plain old, need to be replaced. Out of curiosity, I'll check the gap. All right, next I'm gonna go ahead and do a compression test. And one of the things I wanna do is disable the fuel pump. So an old school way of doing it is to go ahead and just pop the fuse cover off, find your fuel pump fuse or fuel pump relay. So on this one, it's kind of weird because you see this shape, right? And when you flip this, it's got the cutout backwards, but when I looked at all these fuses and relays, you hold it in this position and then count over. So for example, the fuel pump one, got a little holder right here, is the second one over on the bottom, which is gonna be this one. Go ahead and pop that out, and then just for purposes of demonstration, I'll show you another one. Is I could go in here and there's a fuel pump relay. Let me see if I can get this in here and show you all. So there was my fuel pump fuse. Okay, and it's also labeled, if you go to the owner's manual, it'll say like, I think fuse 14, I think is what it was. And then the third one over here is the fuel pump relay. Okay, so I can go 1, 2, 3. Pop that out. I got both of those out, and now I should be able to do a compression test. Why don't I show you the more modern way of doing it? If you have the tool on the scanner, we could shut the fuel pump off that way too, but I'll go ahead now to prove a point. Secondly, there is still going to be some fuel in the lines, so it's not like turning the fuel pump off is just going to not add more fuel, right? So the first couple revolutions of the engine, there's still going to be fuel in there. So what I'm going to do, just to keep things covered up here, go ahead and get these connectors out of the way, and then I've just got a towel I'm going to put over here just to cover things up so that I don't have fuel flying out all over the place. Where a lot of people get compression testing done wrong is they take and leave the other spark plugs in, and the specifications are not designed to have the resistance of the other cylinders. So let's go ahead here and just do this one. I'll crank it over a few times, see what we get. We're looking good. We got 190. Yeah, right about 190. Let's switch cylinders. You need a good battery to do this as well. Nice. Cylinder 3, we got just 209. So we write these down. And keep in mind, this is with the, when I did this, I didn't try to open the throttle plate, so that could affect the numbers as well. I just tapped the accelerator and hit the start button to auto start turning the motor over. Okay, now this was the cylinder that's given us our misfire code-wise. How do we turn out? Oh, that's great news. We got 210 with not even having the throttle open. All right, feeling good about the engine, feeling good about spark, really leaning towards a fuel issue. Last one. Pretty common on these tests too. If you're not hooking up a battery tender or charger on there, it's going to potentially leave low too. But look at that, we got 210. So we've got 210 and 210. Okay, so 210s, 209, and the 190. Now you might think, oh wow, that number 4 is really low, but you got to think about there's an allowable percentage of difference. Okay. And then, which you'd have to go look up that spec, but on average, like 10% across the board is okay. Like a worst case, you need to do a motor is 18 to 20 in most published manuals. But anyway, these are consistent enough that I believe the problem is elsewhere, not in the mechanicals of the engine, not in the electrical. We're still gonna try those spark plugs quick since they're so old. So a couple other things we could check, but right now I'm really believing that this is a fuel related issue. There's gonna be times where you want to upgrade the software, and that's another feature that they claim with this is that it's free upgrades forever. So super, super cool compared to anything I've ever seen before. But once you turn it on, let me show you, go this upgrade. And I just updated software and thought, man, I might as well make a little video for you folks so you can see how to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to upgrade. I'm gonna go to, let's see, application software. So I have that app downloaded. There's another one here. So this is the latest version. I just did that one. So you can see here, here's one that I don't have downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's just as simple. You got to be hooked up to your Wi-Fi. And I'm going from a 1.3 to a 1.3.2. Okay, it says it's installing it. Last time it just rebooted on its own. Installation successful. All right. Okay, what else? What's this other? PDF reader. I think I want that one. Oh, that's crazy for different languages, duolingo. Oh, that's wild. Let's go ahead and do that one. Do not care about games, diagnosis base service, a new version. Let's go ahead and upgrade that one. Key programmer, why not? Google keyboard, why not? Writer IP, don't know what it is. I'm going to update it. Definitely Google Chrome. AI, that one's in the latest one. I'm going to let them be smarter than me, and I'm just going to update this stuff, okay? You know, the other thing I'm going to do is just update these other ones just so that it can get to a point of not showing me that I need something, right? So if I go here, okay, what is this OTA? Let's see what we get there. Current version, check version. Awesome. All right. So I don't have anything there, but if I see here, so one is still downloading, that's why. But that's going to change to 2. Watch that. Yep, drop down to 2. You might just want to update these just to make this go to 0 so you don't have to think about it and sit and go through all these. I guess that's going to be up to you. I'll leave that for now, but just wanted to show you how you could get in there and update the tool, how fast and easy it was. Another amazing feature of this. Gosh, dang, this thing is just awesome. All right, let's do a quick resistance test of these old plugs. About 4,000 on that one, 3.89. Whoa. Double the resistance on that one. That's the bad cylinder. Man, that'd be crazy if that's just all this is. 4,000. 4.8. Wow, that's wild. Could we get that lucky? Okay, so it was, I'm gonna run through and test it one more time. They're saying anywhere from 4 to 8 would be normal. 3.88. Okay, so 3.88. Number 2. Let's call it 9. Do it one more time since it's the one definitely giving us grief. Let me try a different spot out of the spark plug. Definitely 9 something. 4.5. 4.8. Okay, for my research, 4 to 8 would be normal on a new plug. Let's go ahead and open up this brand new set. That would be wild if we get lucky enough that it's just a spark plug. As you can see, I got new injectors, gaskets, and even a fuel pump screen. Most likely wouldn't hurt it to all be done, but we want to find the problem, not just throw parts at it for no reason. Okay, here's a Bosch one. The other thing I gotta check is the gap on those, so that's coming up. All right, so let's take these brand new ones. Yeah, around 8, that's what they said a brand new one would be. It's funny than the one that's reading higher. The other 3 reading low. It is so risky to buy spark plugs off Amazon anymore because there's a bunch of fake brands out there. Okay, 5 on that one. That's what we'd expect to see. Let's go back here. I'm not even trusting this plug. This thing is just being... There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, let me just make sure. I might have deemed this one bad. All right, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and open all these. Thing is, you can get brand new parts that can be bad, so it is not a horrible idea to go ahead and check these out. All right, 0R meter. I think we got 0.2 on there. 0.3, we're good, okay. Okay. 427, I'll take it. It's easy to accidentally touch the strap and make it hard to check here. 5, I'll take it. They could see it's mega. Come on, get a good connection. It is being finicky. I mean, I wouldn't even want to put that plug in if I can't get a good connection here. Okay, that's what I want to see. It's just a matter of getting a good connection. Bad connection is going to show high resistance. Let's just prove we can do it again. Right there, okay? Okay. So we're in the high 4s, 5,000 on all the new ones, so that's good. Interesting that this one is reading so high. I could tell by the gap. The gaps are massive as well. Let's see if you can see. We'll go ahead and measure them, but let's see if you can just see that difference right away. Yeah, look at that. Way, way, way overdue. Okay. So, just for fun, all right, when I go check the new ones, you're supposed to use a wire on fine-tipped or iridium ones and not like these because you could damage them. But for the old plug, I'm going to use this just to show how big the gap is. It's not as bad as I thought. We're 50... say 51, 52, something like that on that one. On the bad plug, number 2, we are 53. Write these down. 052, 053. Makes me think the new plugs aren't gapped enough. 055 on that one, number 3. 055. And geez, sure I didn't grab this one to begin with. Yeah, this one is 57. Not bad for 180,000 miles. I really don't think these have been changed since they have Mazda part numbers on there. It's just so rare that everybody puts those back in. Well, let's see. Let's get an idea what these new ones are gapped at. Let's go right to, there's 45. 40. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Actually, we want to go just a hair. Okay. This way you gotta check brand new ones. That one, this one was tight out of the box. So is that one. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and put these new ones in and just recheck how the engine runs. And if it still isn't fixed, we'll move forward. But the fact that that one, especially the cylinder, it's bad, is dang near double what the other ones are, and they're really old, gaps are out, it's worth trying this step versus going to all this other work. So let's throw these in and see what happens. On reassembly, since there's a million videos out there on installing spark plugs, I'm going to speed this up for you. But I will say this, I'm being very diligent in making sure that I'm putting all those ignition coils back in the same original locations because I don't want to mask any different problems. So remember those marks that I made in the very beginning, those are really beneficial now so that I don't skew the data. Click. The air filter wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen, but what I find next isn't good. Check out the condition of the airbox itself and the seal. No good. All right, some technician at some point wants you to see that whole corner is missing right there. See where that plastic is broke? Let me show you. And let me show you what that's doing. So it's basically sandblasting the engine. So I want you to think about that. With that corner missing, okay, it's not filtering. That's just literally going right from there straight into the engine. Here, I'll pick a spot I haven't touched yet. Look at that. That should be the filtered side. So that is definitely not good. You can see where the seal hasn't been doing its job at all. Man, what a bummer. Bummer for the owner. Let's see if the pieces there's a piece. Let's see if there's another piece down in there. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to clean this out before I even try and fire it up, but I wonder if any of the pieces might even be in there. There's something wedged in here. I feel like it's loose and floating around. Yeah, I'll get a vacuum and see if I can get that out of there, but it might be something else. I see some leaves. Shoot, could be a rock or anything that came up from the inlet. Well, let me clean that out. So as I took a look at this filter even a little more, you can actually see where the gasket hasn't been sealing, and it's pretty dang dirty right there where it's been sucking all that dirt straight in. We might get lucky that with the new filter and this gasket in place that it might hold its seal. I mean, ideally you'd want that clip grabbing into it and pulling it down too, but man, this is bad. Look at how I can just, that was all going right into the engine. Man, not cool. I'm waiting on air filter to get here right now, but the other thing I noticed is as far as around the intake, you see around that number 3 where there's some, what looks like a leak going on. Could be something that ran down, could be old, could be anything someone didn't clean off, but once again, you start thinking 180,000 miles, sometimes you're just going to want to get in there and freshen some things up just to make it all new again. But like I said, we're going to try these spark plugs first now that we found this airbox issue. I think we might get lucky on just enough real estate right there, but we're going to chase down a lid too. I mean, ultimately that's what we do, but let's see if we can get this thing back together and see if the spark plug alone fixed it. All right, new air filter in, and that is how a seal should look. It should be all the way around and not hanging off. So maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Now let's see if we're going to get lucky enough to get this corner to seal up. And I'm going to do another little trick that I like to do, especially since the corner's missing. I'm going to actually put grease around this to create a little bit more of a seal. Now, you might be thinking, man, grease attracts dirt, right? Well, I'm going to do grease on the external side. I'm just kind of packing some in there to create a place for dirt to actually stick to. So what I'm doing is actually doing it intentionally. You know, and I could do it around the seal here as well, but I'm creating that extra little, hopefully, spot that the dirt will stick to and not continue on. Old school trick somebody taught me a long time ago. The air benefit it has is it lubricates the seal. This one's hard as a rock on the old one. Not that that matters, you're supposed to change them. This thing's way beyond its maintenance. I talked to the owner and he was pretty sure that they've paid to have these things done, like spark plugs and air filters, and these are all original. Well, I don't know about the air filter, but spark plugs were. All right, these little tabs, one thing that's gonna make this easier. All right, knowing that this tab was broke, I took the back of the intake off. It's all cleaned out now. And this is gonna make it easier to put this in here right. Okay, just gotta take your time. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my clips on there. There we go. March there. There we go. There we go. All right, let's find out. So that's all hanging out. And the back corner of the airbox is broke off. All right, here, you don't gotta touch that. Set that over there. I want to get a feel for. Nope, that is not going to seal. I can tell you right now. Let me bring the camera in and show you. All right, so you got to look at things. You see how much that corner's broke off. If I push on this airbox, I don't know if I'll be able to do this one hand. I'm not 100% confident that we have 100% seal right there. Now you could do a silicone it. For right now, what I'm gonna do is start the engine, try and deal with this issue. So just to see if the misfire's gone away or if it's any better. That's what I'm gonna focus on first, but we need to get a new lid to fully fix that problem. I honestly wouldn't even recommend driving this without at least silicone in that corner to create that seal, or just waiting and getting a box. So a couple options there. All right, fired up. It is completely sound like a different engine. Let off the gas. There's this little hiss we've never heard before that's happening. I don't know if it's this, it doesn't seem like it's that airbox, but we're gonna go ahead and just mash the gas quick. Just sounds like when it's first sucking in. Now go ahead and hold a steady throttle, like 2,000 RPM. Hold. Okay, let off. So the other thing we know we need to do is we need to let it run 10 minutes. Remember before when we did our first test, the problem got much worse when it was hotter. So we're gonna let it run for 10 minutes right now and come back. I wanna give you a pro tip as a technician on how important it is to document the entire process as you go. A lot of people just throw parts at things and stab it and hope it fixes it. But if you take really good notes of all the steps you did, document those numbers, what you can do after you think you fixed the problem is you can go back and redo that test and then verify and have a lot of confidence that there's been a change, right? A lot of times there's more than one thing that can go wrong, right? So you can tell in this case with the secondary ignition that we were able to test it to begin with, make some changes, which in this case were new spark plugs, cleaned up all the connections, and then now we're going back and checking it. And what you're going to see is some great data. Is what we hope to see is that we get some consistency. Let's take a look. Check this out. Remember we used our GTC 505 earlier, and we had differences? Well, now that we have all new plugs in there, these have all equalized. So let's think about why that is. That spark plug had double the resistance compared to the other plugs, so the secondary ignition would have had the higher and additional 4,000 or 5,000 on it. But if we compare numbers between before and after, that's why they're all equalized now, was because of that bad spark plug. But ultimately, we need to let this engine run, get to that full temp, and then we want to drive it. So let's think of the original problem that we ran into. Is they put a fuel in there that was for a flex fuel car by accident, and that's where the only thing we know that changed that got us to where we are today. And so I think that it's just creating some other conditions that let them show themselves. You know, as of right now, we're starting to equalize. We know we have that bad, that one bad spark plug out of there. But if it keeps running like this and isn't popping codes, I see no reason to keep going and putting injectors in it. We want to fix the airbox problem. Obviously, that was an issue as well. but we may have this fixed. So let's just stay tuned and we'll see how it goes after a few miles and then come back and do a summary. Or we're putting injectors in. All right, we've been running about 13, 14 minutes. Went a little bit longer and the hiccup is no longer visible. Let's go back to our home screen, auto search. Yeah, that looks good. All right, I found a Mazda. Boy, this is really connecting quick. All right, let's do automatically. Key is on. Get all the modules. Okay, we are mostly focused on the PCM, and let's look at that. Okay, control module. We want to just look at the one that we wanted. Okay, so we are in the PCM now, and we're going to look for, even though it says there's no codes, but we're in key off, we're going to command that. Okay, it's ran, like I said, 13, 14 minutes. I charged the battery, cleaned the connections too. We're at 12.3 now. We were 11 something, I think, when we did it last time. Lights are on right now. That's why it's not 12.6. But let's go back and do the key on. And let's see. Go here. Okay. No faults reading, but let's do this. Let's go back to the menu. Let's do read data stream. All right, let's look at some of those same charts that we looked at before. So we're going to look at the fuel pressure and we're going to look at misfires, okay? There was that cylinder 2 misfire. We'll grab both of those, and then we're going to look at, let's just look at RPM. And then we wanted to look at the fuel pump, fuel pressure. Let's do fuel pump. Hit OK. Okay. Look at that. No counts. I have to go back to the video. We were a couple hundred counts on misfires. I'm going to go ahead here and rev it up. So if you aren't really familiar with all this stuff too, one other piece of data we can get right now is we could see the alternators working. See how we jumped up to almost 14 volts, so that tells us our charging system's working without even having to do anything, because key on, we were 12.3, now we're 14, so that's good. Alternator's working, right? So right away, what's interesting is the RPM has really stabilized. If you remember in the video before, we'll do the before, you could see where it was jumping up and down. That's what that misfire will do, is it creates a a bug in the system. So we're really happy to see this. You notice when I did the coil tester, you saw those secondary voltages going all over. I think I could fine tune the range that I'm looking at and dial that in, but really I'm using that GTC tool as a go no go gauge, right? This is actually looking at what we have going on. So here we're just showing that the fuel pump's on. I want to look at the PSI, so I could see I grabbed the wrong one. Let's just go back to the data here, and then let's look at fuel pressure. I think we can go here, and then I think we can change it to PSI. We can. So I must have had it on Imperial last. I think it defaults to, or excuse me, on metric last. I think it defaults to, oh no, that's funny. It said KPA, but when I go in here, here's where I could choose it. My bad. But check this out. 450 PSI, and it doesn't seem to be fluctuating. But let's go ahead and let's look at everything on a graph. Okay. Look at no misfire, no misfire, rock on. Look at the RPM compared to before, just steady as can be. Fuel pressure, steady as can be. I really don't need that fuel pump on. If I go back here, or not on, I'm sorry, I don't need to be looking at it. So let's say you look at a piece of data and you're like, why am I looking at that? I don't need that. I can just come back in here and uncheck that and then give myself a better graph to look at. Way cool. I really think this car is ready to just be test drove and put some more miles on. Hopefully not put that wrong fuel in there, but give it a few days, just get some data on there. The car never left a customer stranded, but it is scary to have an engine code and lose power on the interstate. Very, very, very dangerous. Most people just look down right away, and that's how an accident happens. So I've recommended just taking some back roads and being mindful to think about like where you're driving. Do you have a way to pull over? But never ideal. But when you have a car that has intermittent codes and intermittent problems like this one did, it can be really hard to diagnose. And in this particular case, we had it to where it was consistently at least misfiring, but still, you know, what was the problem? I said in the beginning of the video, watch that valve cover, and I was going to come back to it. Well, here's before and after of the motor mounts being replaced. On the bottom's the new motor mount. See if you can tell the difference on the top, how it's shaking and vibrating. So I want to give a shout out to Mucar, to this tester. I mean, how fantastic was this in helping us diagnose this problem? But I think it's time to put some miles on this Mazda and give it back to the customer. All right, my friends, if you haven't done so, you can go to the description of the video, get all the links or the first comment of where you can purchase the tools I use this video for yourself, but at least hop over to their channels, give them a like, and comment below if you're using this scanner and what you think of it or what you thought in this video. We'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. But as always, like, share, and subscribe. Make it a great day and keep wrenching.